Your week in review. So August 11th, 2025, and it was a positive week for U.S. indexes, with the Nasdaq leading the pack at 3.88% higher, reaching a new all-time high. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 rose 2.44%, and the Dow Jones added another 1.37%. Growth stocks outperformed value stocks by a wide margin last week, rising 3.23% versus 1.41%. Now, bonds, as measured by the U.S. Aggregate Bond Index, or the AGG, on the other hand, fell 0.18% as yields moved higher. Gold continued its year-to-date winning streak, reaching another new all-time high. Now let's talk upcoming economic releases. This week's economic reports include new readings on inflation, trends, and health for the U.S. consumer. On Tuesday, August 12th, CPI, or Consumer Price Index, will provide insights into the path of inflation, and elevated tariffs continue to elevate prices, followed by the Producer Price Index, or the PPI, on August 14th, Thursday. Then Friday, August 15th, the retail sales report will show if the U.S. consumer continues to show resiliency throughout these, price changes. Then we get to market outlook. Well, not over. The peak week of Q2 earnings has passed. With most companies reporting better than expected results, the Q2 earnings growth rate stands at 11.8%, on track for the third consecutive quarter of double-digit growth for S&P 500 companies. On trade, the administration's reciprocal tariffs took effect last week, impacting multiple U.S. partners, including Switzerland, with a 39% tariff. A 100% tariff on semiconductor imports was also announced, exempting companies that commit to U.S. manufacturing or investments into the U.S. infrastructure. Since April initial tariff announcements, the U.S. has collected about $64 billion in revenue, 2.6 times higher than a year ago, while the trade deficit has narrowed, about 10%? However, gains have been uneven. The deficit with China has shrank, while it widened with Vietnam, Mexico, and Taiwan. Now, we're all hearing this, right? We have a rate cut expectation for September has drastically rose, weaker than expected jobs data, and downward revisions to prior months. This week's CPI Tuesday and PPI on Thursday reports will be closely watched to see if tariffs are adding to inflation, potentially keeping the Fed on hold. Now, stocks in the news. We got two of them. First one is Novo Nordisk, or NVO. The company reported an earnings beat last week, though year-over-year sales growth in its blockbuster GLP-1 drug came in below expectations as a copycat drug maker gained the market share. Shares initially fell, but rebounded after competitors Eli Lilly's oral GLP-1 trial results trailed NVO's progress towards an oral weight loss drug. Shares gained 4.65% for the week. Our next stock is Disney, ticker DIS. Disney posted an earnings beat, highlighting strength in its theme parks and profitability in its streaming platforms. The company raised full-year guidance, though less than investors may have hoped. Shares fell 5.8% for the week, and that's your week in review.